Welcome to our sports video sessions provided by the Office of Sport. This video is all about how your club can use Twitter. What is Twitter? Twitter is accessed online at www.twitter.com and it's used on either your phone or your computer. Unlike other social networks, it's not as media focused. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram are very heavy on posting pictures, video, and a lot of rich media content. However, Twitter is more information based. It's used by newspapers, information sources, celebrities, brands, people looking to get burst information out. For example, the Sydney Morning Herald may put up all their headlines of the day on Twitter. A celebrity might put up all their headlines about what they're doing this week, who they're meeting, what movies they're involved with on Twitter. It's something that's very burst and information focused. And interestingly, it does have a lot of brand engagement between customers. So the key question is, how does your club become part of that message? Well, to get going, we need to understand a bit of the terminology of Twitter. Just like all networks, Twitter has its own language. A tweet is what I put on Twitter, and a tweet is 140 characters long, just enough to fit a large sentence. The reason for that, as we mentioned, is Twitter is information burst focused. It's not a long rambling essay that someone puts online. It's quick headline based information. A follower is kind of like a friend on Facebook. It's someone that subscribes to my tweets, but I don't have to subscribe to theirs in return. And a direct message is something between two people, but it follows all the same rules. It must be 140 characters and so on and so forth. A retweet is me reposting someone else's content. If the Sydney Morning Herald puts up an article, I might retweet that to my followers and it will say, Alex retweeted this from the Sydney Morning Herald. And it's a way of sharing people's content really quickly. And in saying that, Twitter can reach large amounts of people very, very quickly as people retweet their content, almost like a tree or a hierarchy. And a favourite is kind of like a like. It's like the thumbs up button on Facebook. It allows you to say, hey, I like that tweet, and you can always come back to your favourites later. Now, for a club, what does Twitter look like? Because you can sign up as a club. You don't need a personal Twitter account. You can go on and create one with your club. And what you should do is use a club email, use a club address, use something that belongs to the club to sign up. And just like other networks, it has all the same branding that you'd recognize. Just like some of our other networks, on Twitter, we have our header, we have our logo, and we have our posts right down the page. You can see communicating with sponsors, communicating with members, sharing media. But unlike some of the other networks, it's a lot more burst focused. Simple headlines, simple pictures. It's not the same as Facebook, for example, with comments underneath and a discussion. It's more for burst news. And of course, once we're on Twitter, what does an individual tweet look like? Tweets can be serious, they can be funny, and in this example, there was obviously an electricity outage in New South Wales. Ausgrid has posted a tweet online, someone has replied to it, and Ausgrid has replied to that. Facebook, by comparison, allows people to put up a post and people then comment below it a bit like a conversation. Twitter's a little bit different. It's very one-on-one and it's less of a notice board or forum. It's more of one-on-one communication between people. You can see others' communications between the person that put up the content, but it's a bit of a different feel than Facebook. What Twitter isn't designed for, though, is uploading a lot of rich media. On other social networks, you can upload a whole gallery of images really easily. You can create events, you can put videos and have everything linked together in a really media-rich way. Twitter does support uploading photos and videos to your tweets, but they're really supplementary to the tweet itself. The Sydney Morning Herald may put up a tweet with a picture underneath it, which is from their news story. On Facebook, for example, or on YouTube or on Instagram, they may put up 10, 15 photos or more of a gallery that you would find on a traditional website. Twitter just isn't designed for that rich media. What it is designed though for is a lot of lead generation, a way to quickly disseminate information, a way to interact one-on-one with members. The old technical support model of ringing someone like your telephone provider or your internet provider has changed with the advent of Twitter. In times past, you'd wait an hour on the phone to call the Foxtel company or the cable company and say that your cable television had stopped working. You can now go on Twitter and tweet your cable company directly, one-on-one, and get help straight away. And it's an interesting turn. So Twitter is used very much for one-on-one interaction, but it's a great way to engage with people within your community. Twitter also has analytics, which allows you to see how frequently your posts are retweeted, how many times they're retweeted, which is your most popular tweet. But what it lacks is demographic information. With some other networks, when you put information into those networks, you put who you are, how old you are, where you live, all that kind of information, as you don't put that into Twitter. And that means that the analytics are very much based around your tweets. They're not demographic. I can't see the demographics of my audience like I can on other networks. That's not to say the analytics aren't good, but it is worth noting that they are different from other networks. For a sport posting a lot of tweets, it's really important because I want to see which ones perform. What do my members like retweeting? Which ones get the most retweets? But for a small club, the analytics may not be as useful. The critical thing though with Twitter is that it does take a lot more time commitment. And it's a bit like a steam train. As it rolls forward, it allows you to build up momentum as you go. It allows the club to gather more and more followers as time goes on, but it does require a larger initial time commitment. What that means is you need to seek out leads. You need to be following your council, your state body, your local body. You need to be reaching out into your community to be building up these networks, and that takes time, especially when we're all volunteers. But what you can do is survey your members. Do a straw poll. The next time you see your members at the club, do you use Twitter? Yes or no? And if you do, Twitter's for you. And if not, there are plenty of other networks out there.